What's up, Casper fans? Today I'm going to show you a very exciting gambit which I've been testing recently. So as usual, before I play a game or two on leeches, let me show you a quick tutorial of how this goes. At the moment, I'm calling this the Madman's Wing Gambit, and you will see why. You can play this against the Sicilian defense where you go b4, but it's not going to be the normal wing gambit, trust me. After black takes the top played move, you want to play a3, and after ba, the top played move, most people play bishop takes a3 in this position, others play knight takes, and a few of them out there play d4. But here is the Madman's Wing Gambit. You need to take on a3 with the rook. What? And you will see what I'm talking about, you guys. I remember covering something like this 2 years ago on this same channel, but not in full. The common moves in this position is pawn to e6 and pawn to e5. We're going to start with the worst, pawn to e5, where black tries to equalize on the center. Now this is where you become crazy, or rather mad, by sacrificing your rook. So you go knight c3. Sometimes you can also start with bishop c4, by the way, it's not much of a stretch. But knight c3 is the best move in this position. Of course, the top played move is bishop takes, and I should mention to say this is suitable for rapid blitz and bullet. Although, depending on your skill, you can try it even in classical chess, longer time controls, you know, against weaker opponents. I mean, if you trust your skills. Anyway, after bishop takes, you want to take back with your bishop, of course. And let me tell you what, the only correct move in this position is pawn to s6. We're going to look at that later. In this position, if black plays knight f6 or pawn to d6 or knight c6 or even knight e7, just know you have 90% of winning the game. And these are the responses that we're going to look at in this short tutorial before I play a game. Let's start with the common move knight f6. This is what you ought to study the most. The rule is if your opponent doesn't play s6, you go knight b5 immediately. Yes, allowing them to take the free pawn on e4, because you have another dirty idea of playing queen g4, attacking the knight and the pawn on g7. See how your games will be ending very quickly. Oops, by the way, there is the leeches database, just for you to know that I'm not just making up these stuffs. I mean, I didn't smoke before I came up with this. You can see that the top played move is pawn to d5, after which you can safely go queen takes g7, attacking that rook. And your opponents will be playing queen f6, you can see that. And so the best you can do is to exchange, you know, queens just like that, and then get back your rook, this time on a8. And it looks like you're going to lose this knight. But wait, at worst, you want your knight to die with dignity, sometimes on b6, but that's not going to happen. You're going to be saving that knight most of the times. The sequence here is bishop d6 and that. For example, say black plays knight c6 in this position, you first of all go pawn to f4. So this is your key move. It will support the upcoming bishop d6, as you will see. If something like bishop f5, that's when you can go bishop d6, bingo. And I mean, okay, let's say knight e8. Let's try to be solid. Here you can just take on e5. Now the rook is under attack. If they play f6, you can simply go bishop b2. And it looks like black is now going to win your knight. You know, first there is d3. If that, this is where I said you can let your knight die with dignity by going knight b6. You know, forcing black to have doubled pawns along the b file. But Stockfish says in this position you can simply go king d2, allow them to take that knight, and then you start developing normally. Count material, you have 4 pieces plus a bishop pair, of course, and black has 4 pieces. But most importantly, your position is great, and Stockfish gives you a plus 2.1 advantage as white. Black has 3 isolated pawns, by the way, so all those are weaknesses. Right, okay, so that was all about the knight f6 line. Let's look at something else that black can do in this position. You know, after giving up your rook on a3, black can also try knight e7, another bad move. Well, just like before, play knight b5. You know the idea? At this point, if black castles short, the move to consider playing is not knight d6. I mean, you're not checking anything here. You need to play bishop d6. This comes with a little trap that most of your opponents are going to overlook. They have to play knight s6, otherwise if they do something like knight c6 in this position, black's queen is going to die like this. Pap, knight d6. So after bishop d6, black just has to play knight s6 miraculously. Now after that, you need to go bishop c4. that's an active move, putting more pressure on black's f7 pawn somehow. Now once again, check what's happening in the Lichess database. The top played move is rook e8. However, if you see that, just go queen f3 immediately. There's a big problem here. Most of your opponents are going to be forced, to go back like that, and this is where you need to go queen h5, maybe followed by h4, knight h3, and knight g5. You're going to be winning 100% of your games from here. If they don't play rook e8, allowing you to go queen f3, you will see them doing something like this. b6, maybe they want to develop their bishop like that, but apart from queen f3, the other move you can consider playing is queen h5. This is why I love this type of wing gambit, you guys. The flexibility. It's all about your bishop pair activity in this so-called madman's wing gambit. If bishop b7, you just ignore the e4 pawn, you go knight f3, because if they take, it's not even about knight g5, it's about queen h4, you guys. Once again, black is going to lose a piece in this position, especially if they're not careful. Anyway, enough of the knight e7 line. Once again, after sacrificing your rook and you take back, the other move you will see your opponents playing is pawn to d6. Let's look at that. Pawn to d6, what do? Just like before, you go knight b5. So always remember to start with knight b5 in this type of Sicilian. The top played move is knight e7. You can check the database, by the way. I'm not just making up this stuff. There are some people like saying, these things don't work. Yes, they don't work against grandmasters, but against your level, these things do work. Just work for your meal. Come on, guys, stop being politicians. Anyway, knight e7, you just take on d6. That was just a free pawn, and that comes with check. Most of your opponents will be playing king f8, and guess what? That's when you go bishop c4. Most of your opponents are going to be playing something like bishop e6. So you just capture that bishop, and after pawn takes, once again you go queen f. Let me say something about this. You can see that we're just doing almost the same things over and over. Knight b5, knight d6 check, queen f3, or queen h5, even queen g4. So it is very easy to play this crazy gambit, you guys. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. And hey, don't just watch. That's not encouraging at all. To keep this channel alive, you can simply share this video, hit the like button, and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have nothing to say, just type "Thank you, Kaspa" in the comment section down below. Lastly, if you want to go through my study PGNs, such as the one I'm using in this study, you can visit my Patreon page. The link is in the comment section down below. After pawn takes, you can simply go queen f3, that's check. And in this position, black can just resign, because not even knight f5 can help due to knight takes discovery check, or even better, e takes f5. And guess what? Even knight takes b7 works in this position. Anyway, ef, there's nothing much they can do. It'll just be checkmate in a few minutes. If that happens, you simply have knight e4. This is a discovery check. You're going to win the queen. That's the idea. Now, so far we have looked at the knight f6 line, the knight e7 line, and the d6 line. Let's look at the last one, the knight c6 line. So just like before, you know what to do by this time. You go knight b5. The rule is if your opponent doesn't play s6, you go knight b5 immediately. Now after this, the top played move is knight g e7. If they play that, again you just go knight d6 check. King f8, what do? Queen f3. The moves are very simple to understand, you guys. This time if they play pawn to f6, trying to stop the checkmate, guess what you should do? Queen b3. Look at that. Again, checkmate is coming. If they play knight d5, you take with your queen. Look at that. Why? The best black can do in such positions is to give up their queen. And it doesn't even matter. You have bishop c4. You have that coming soon. It's just game over in this position. Anyway, after going knight b5, instead of black playing knight e7, the other move you're going to see is queen f5. A dubious move, I don't know. But once again, you have knight d6 check. If king d8, you have knight takes f7. Now it's the rook. And I saw something on YouTube. I think that should be a guy called Adam who covered this line. And kudos to him for covering this specific line. Adam Misko Shak, something like that. Some of your opponents will be playing king c7. And this is where you can go bishop d6 check. There's nowhere they can go to apart from the b6 square. And now you go queen b1 check. So in this position, the game is over. The best they can do is just to sacrifice maybe their knight, and then you go bishop takes. Either ways, you're going to walk away with a discovery. Your bishop is like that. Anyway, if they don't play, king c7 after knight takes f7 check, you will see them playing king e8. Now after this, feel free to go knight d6 check again. Yes, you can take the rook if you so wish, but you're just going to hang your bishop. Look at that. So you want to walk away with a check. Don't just, be overexcited. Of course, if they walk into that line of a pin, you have knight c4 and you're going to win the queen. Or even better, queen h5, because there is checkmate in this position. g6, queen f3. Again, this queen f3 move, and it will just be a matter of time before checkmating them. So after king e8 and knight d6 check, the best black can do is to go back to d8 so that you can now go queen a1. That's the move. You want to go knight f7 check next. So if they play something like knight d4 as an example, this time you can even take on b7 with check. You want to win the queen. If they take your knight, guess what? You have bishop e7 check, discovery, pap, black's queen is dead. So now you have seen why pawn to s6 is the best move in this position out of all that we have covered, such as knight f6, knight e7, d6, and knight c6. So before I play a game, in my next video, we'll be looking at the s6 line, and I'll show you what to do after e6 instead of, pawn to e5, which is why if you don't want to miss any of my future uploads, do not only subscribe, but also ensure to turn on the bell notification icon and, like this video, because the more you like and comment, the more YouTube will be recommending my videos to you. Now, it is time for me to walk the talk. Let me try to play 1 or 2 games on leeches and see how this goes. Right. Okay, my opponent has played d5. You know what? Against this, I love to play the Tennyson line. Yeah, because there's no way I can take on a3. I can't take my own pawn, obviously. And I can't play knight c3. Can't play bishop c4. So let me try something else. And this is what you should do if you just want to have a good time, especially if your opponents decline the madman's win gambit. So I'm playing this in the style of the Tennyson gambit now. Don't try this at home. If a6, I'll just take. Oh, I can play this. No, my bishop needed to be on c4 first. Can I take pap? Nope, that's not gonna work. So let me do that. But if black hits on a3, I'll still... Oh, wait a second, that's a clever move. What am I going to do? I need to do something very clever in this position. First, let me give a check. And then do this. Look at this. So this is a little trap, you guys. I want to give a check on d6, then win that rook on h8. So I'm just improvising now, out of the book. Okay, bishop takes, queen check. Okay, let me just go back to have knight d6 check in that. So knight d6 check. I'm going to walk away with another check and win that rook. For one, I will just repeat moves. So this will be a draw. Yep. Because I'm going to lose the knight here. So let this just be a draw. Just move this side. Maybe after that, I'm going to play this move check. Well, you know what I'm going to do? Let me trap this guy. So let's do this.
sacrificing the knight. I want to castle short. I think my opponent will be thinking about their rook, but in reality, I want to checkmate them like this. Queen check and bishop f4. This is how you're supposed to think in chess. Let's see what my opponent would do. By the way, I'm playing against a 2457 rated opponent, question mark. But this is when they have taken. Okay, so that will be an easy mate. This and bishop f4 mate. They're supposed to sacrifice their knight. Oh, this. Okay. What am I going to do? This. I have checked discovery. Or maybe I should have taken with the knight. My bad. Should have taken with the knight, not the pawn. Now this was a bad play by myself. Should have taken with the knight. Either way, my opponent needs to resign in this position. This is the consequence of not taking on a3 very early. Oh, wait a second. Need to do something. Yep, so game over. So what I was saying is this. After pawn to e5, instead of taking with the pawn, I should have taken with the knight. Yep, this was going to be a very quick checkmate, not what I did. But anyway, right, things didn't go as planned, but you saw what happened. If your opponent doesn't accept the gambit, if they don't allow you to sacrifice your rook in the opening stage, do as I did in this game.
Now, go and check out 3 of my new courses on my website KaspaChess.com that I highly recommend you get right now. The newly updated Semi-Slav defense against d4, the Knight c6 Nimzowitsch defense, and the mighty e5 Paris defense, which is my best selling course till this date. Chess is a school on its own, and you will just need to show some efforts to unlock some secrets that content creators don't show on YouTube. And that's how you support this channel, by the way.